Mother, I feel your heartbeat. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ciao, everyone. I didn't mean to startle you if you were enjoying your August energy healing. Welcome to that. Thank you for being here. I hope the sound is okay. I do have the air on and whatnot. So if you haven't been here before, uh, this is what we do here. Uh, mm, I really went into like a little bit of a trance today, and it's not quite like the movies, let's say, but one of the things of being a shaman is that we work in both worlds at once, and we are able to just go, and work in non-normal reality uh, pretty easily. I played my little tambourine, which is my favorite. Um, you don't need to do that. I don't need to do that, but it certainly helped me just get thrown right in, and when that happens, a lot of people have the misunderstanding or the concept that when we're meditating or when we're doing things, we always have to close our eyes. But the thing is, I've never like I'm not saying I never did that, but even as a child, I think I did my best work with my eyes open. There are some Tibetan monks, I believe, who actually also they don't do exactly what shamans do, but they do go into these transcendental states and so on with their eyes open. And I think that's not really a common known fact. So I thought I'd share that with you. Um, Always, I do things from feeling, from, you know, my heart and what my helping spirits guide me to do. It's not like I go, like consciously go, what do I do? Um, this is like a thing that occurs naturally. And that's what you want to look out for. I think if anything I can tell you is that when it comes to this kind of practice or any, in my opinion, that you look for what comes naturally to you as opposed to all the forced, I must do it this way, I must do it that way because Joe Schmo and John Q are doing it, you know. It's kind of like the famous thing, especially New York moms would say, would you jump off the Brooklyn Bridge if your friends did? Yeah. So with that being said, it was really fun, and I'm just kind of like, okay. So the cool thing about that is you become what you're supposed to be, and that's a hollow bone. Um, Regardless of what's going on in my world, which is a whole lot lately, which I'd like to get to, not about the details, but about, you know, how to move with that and still be a shaman or a light worker or a healer or a psychic or whatever. But anyway, um, it's just really important that we go with the flow with everything that we do, go with what is natural and, not stick to my favorite, non favorite, absolutely hate the word dogma. So, anyway, uh, on the subject of, being a light worker or a great big, you know, master of the universe, Shira and whatnot, whatever you want to call yourself is all good. Um, and then dealing with mundane things at the same time. How do you balance that, and how do you rectify that if you're coming from an honest point of view? Like I think a lot of people who are honest with themselves, as we talked about last month, the importance of just like being honest, it, it will set you free. But anyway, like there's something about that if you're being really honest with yourself. At one point or another, you're going to say, well, am I a fraud? Am I an imposter? Because I can't seem to manage this situation or, you know, this aspect of myself right now, you know, or maybe for longer than right now, you know. It's really interesting because there is a fine line, in my opinion. It's like, you know, I was going to use a weight thing, and it's kind of hard, but it's no offense to any weights at all. But, you know, let's say someone is very, very overweight. However, they're teaching health and fitness. You might want to rethink that, you know. Um, it's kind of like that. You know, there's an extreme on all ends of this spectrum, all ends of opinion and so on. And that's all it is. You know, you can take it or leave it. This is what I am discussing today. But then there's a part, you know, the other end of it is that there is a person who's in fairly good shape, but they have setbacks. Um, and sometimes it's for a week and sometimes it's for 6 months, you know, but they share that and they try to use that as a teaching tool in their class or whatever. I think those two are very different things. So if you're struggling uh, with, you know, your morals on like, hey, I'm not perfect. Hey, I'm going through this. I've heard it all along, you know, a whole lot, and I get it. I get it myself, you know, and that's my point. You're allowed to be like a human um, with situations and with flaws, and I can't state that enough. I've said that over and over again, years and years and years. You know, and it sounds good, and everybody might agree with that, but at the same time, they're secretly thinking, well, if he can't, you know, make a pig fly, then what kind of a master of the universe is he? You know, there are these things that people think, and then there are things that you think, you know, to yourself, which is probably worse than an outside opinion. Yeah, I think the old saying, you know, we're our own worst critics. I think it's really, really true, and I think that's true for myself. You know, like I could most of the time, you know, let things roll off my back like a duck, you know, and I'm like, whatever. Uh, but sometimes when my brain gets a hold of something and it just keeps doing its thing, it's like this awful code, you know, that just keeps showing up like an error in the coding. You know, it's like no matter how awesome it's flowing, you know, you see this black screen with all the data, and then there's that one little error, and it just keeps going on loop. So it's not fun, but it's honest, you know. And again, if you're in this industry, try throwing in some honesty too, because you'll make people feel a lot better about themselves, and maybe they will feel more free to come out and do such brave things, you know, such as doing videos and, you know, all of that stuff is really hard for people, most people, you know, especially in this industry where, especially in the healing sector, in my opinion, because as much as there's a lot of support and a lot of stuff coming out with psychics, like you could talk to the dead. I've always said this. You can talk to the dead, but you cannot heal people. That's for Jesus, right? What's wrong with this picture? Anyway, I digress. let's like do others a favor as well as yourselves. Like let's let each other off the hook with this thing, and try to be more real. If you're not, I'm not saying that everybody's fake. Oh my god, like, oh my god, look at her. No, but I think that especially with social media, I'm like, you know. Anyway, so I guess that's what I wanted to share, is that we just need to be uh, more forgiving with ourselves and then pass that on. I think that's the message of the month. Forgive yourself, allow, and then pass that on. Don't look at somebody and say, yeah, but blah, 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 blah. You know, really go in there and say, wait a minute. This is a flesh and blood human being. And I need to respect that and accept that and actually appreciate it, because these people out here who are showing themselves as they are, and I'm not glorifying myself. I'm not saying it's me that's doing that, because there are things that I will not share. And this is the discernment too. But anyway, I'm just saying, let's glorify the honesty and the deep introspection, as opposed to float your chakras this way and that way, and your problems are over. That's a bunch of baloney. I mean, honestly, that is, you know, whatever you can do to like relax your system is wonderful if it works for you. As I've always said, if it works for you. If it's not working for you, but you're telling people to do it, I don't see the point. Uh, it should be direct experience, and then we pass that along, And when I share my thingies, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know this because I've been through it, or I'm in it, or like let's do that. And I think that's it. I want to thank you for being here as always, and I will maybe probably see you next month. I have a lot on the go right now. I am going to start classes. I'm not sure when. I really need to you know, get all these things together and schedule things in a proper way. So I will get back to you on that, but look out for it. I've had so many people, they're like, do you teach? Do you teach? And I've always said no, no. But the truth of the matter is, even through the 4 years on YouTube, I've taught, you know. Um, and really, in just living my life, you teach it. Everybody's a teacher. You teach every day, So this isn't a new thing, and I'd like to share that energy with you. So look out for that. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, do at Jenny Satori Davis, and I will see you soon. Love you. Bye. And